So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with again the only other person up there being King Ricky.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of B.S.ing Sports here on the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. It is my Eagles recap show. I'm doing rotating guests. This week I've got Ryan on. Ryan, how you doing?
What's going on, Bill? Excited to talk about the Eagles this week.
Yeah. Just like last week, I had to watch a replay. I didn't get to watch it live, but you came to the bar and you gave me some things to talk about, which I appreciate. And then, found out that you were going to be on the show, so you could talk about them. Like, whatever, it's cool. No worries. But yeah, obviously me having to watch the replay, I didn't get the actual vibe of the game. Ryan got to watch the game. He understands the vibe of the game. Did you do that?
For those of you on Twitch that happen to be watching, ignore that.
Yes, if you're on Twitch, please ignore whatever that is, even though it doesn't look like there's anybody on Twitch.
Bears fan Pete, what's going on, buddy? Good evening. It is a great evening because we're talking about the Eagles after they just beat the New York Giants. I'm wondering when Hot Take's going to show up. Handsome guys right there. Thank you.
Yeah, kind of keep going. I'm logging into Twitch.
Very doable. Slightly gay. Definitely gay. I'm with it. Yeah, so we are talking about the Eagles after they defeat the New York Giants 28-3. We are going to go over what was good, what was bad, what was indifferent. There was nothing really ugly about this game, so we're going to leave that part out. Nonetheless, let's get right to it. Like I said, final score: Eagles 23, Giants 3. My initial thoughts as Bill handles the Twitch situation. From the time that the clock changed over to the second quarter until there was 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter when Kenny Pickett came in the game, this was like reminiscent of 2017 Eagles. This was like 2022 Eagles, really defeating a team that they should have kicked the shit out of. Like, that's exactly the kind of message that needed to be sent this week with Malik Neighbors coming back. The Giants kind of reeling a little bit, right? And they've got some weapons on offense yet, but, overall the Giants are not a good football team. And the Eagles did exactly what good football teams do to not good football teams, which was kick the shit out of them. Bears fan Pete says, if Saquon played like that every game, the Eagles are unstoppable. That's very true. Saquon has to get the ball early and often in every game, and that just generally isn't the case sometimes, which is really the big issue here. Tim also harps on it and says Barkley dominated. Yes, he did. We will talk a lot about Saquon Barkley. Ken Brandt says, I like the fact that Sirianni went to Barkley and asked if he wanted his record, and he said no, let the young guys eat. We will talk about that a little bit as well. Z-Money, welcome back, Z-Money. I haven't seen you in a few weeks. I know that the Dallas Cowboys unfortunately lost to the bye week this week. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Did you hear the Cowboys are trading for CMC? Sure. And then you woke up from that dream. Hurts needs to be more decisive. We will talk about Jalen Hurts. Timothy Brandt says our corners have a huge game this week coming up. We will talk about the game upcoming as well. Actually, I don't know what we're going to talk about. This is Bill's show. I'm just kind of stepping in for some things. Cowboys blow out the 49ers. We'll see. We will see. That should be a very good game.
Sorry, I really am sorry, everybody.
So, Bill, we were
hacked. I'm fixing it right now.
Yes, so it seems like we were hacked on Twitch for those of you watching. Thank you for tuning in. We'll wait for Bill's initial thoughts here. He's good to go.
All right, yes. Yeah, we are good to go. We're fixed on Twitch. Whoever saw that top comment, please ignore it. We don't know where it came from. We apologize for that. Moving forward, my initial thoughts on the game. I didn't really get to watch it. I looked at the StatCast afterwards.
Oh,
Initial
God.
thoughts. Oh, man.
You're a Cowboys fan and a Dodgers fan? Z-Money.
Moving past that.
First off, I appreciate your support when you show up. I really do. You know, it's fun to banter back and forth. But, God, you're a Cowboys and a Dodgers fan? You root for the Lakers, too, don't you?
He probably does. Let's hope he doesn't, but he probably does. No, my initial thoughts. I had two very, very quick initial thoughts. One was Jalen Hurts only threw the ball 14 times, and two was holy Saquon Barkley. Right?
No, keep talking.
Yeah. No, I know. And for me, again, because I have to watch the games in a recap. While I was watching the recap of it, I knew what the outcome of the game was, and I still was excited to watch all the Saquon Barkley. All the Saquon Barkley runs. So yeah, those were my very initial thoughts. But yeah. So did you give yours? I'm sorry, while I was dealing with
Yeah. You're back to banner control. I'll take the comments.
I appreciate you covering for me there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a pretty hot topic in Philadelphia right now, and the head coach, Nick Sirianni. There's a lot of debate right now going on. Well, maybe not after this particular game, but definitely after the Browns game about whether or not he should be sacked. Ryan and I both have our own individual stats that we'd like to talk about on this. I will go. I'll let you go first, then I'll throw mine in the hat.
Yeah. So my big thing, right? Nick Sirianni can be frustrating at times, but we talked about it a little bit. You know, the last time that I was on the Eagles recap show, or maybe we didn't. I don't remember when I talked about this. I think I said it on one of these shows. He does two things very well. One, his players listen to him. His players receive the message. They all defend him. They love him. Whatever it is about whatever Nick Sirianni is sending in the locker room, his players love him. Secondly, all this guy does is win. So as of right now, he is 38-19 in his career as a head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He is the second highest active head coaching winning percentage in the NFL. And out of all head coaches who have at least 4 years of head coaching experience, there's 201 of them. Bill, would you like to guess where he ranks on that list as far as winning percentage?
Second.
He is 15th, which out of 201 coaches that have coached 4 years,
pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then the last stat that I have about Nick Sirianni, highest by a landslide winning percentage amongst Eagles head coaches in their first 4 seasons. It is so high, he could win the next game, and he would have to lose every other game this year just to tie Andy Reid. It's not even close.
That is impressive.
4 times he's been to the playoff, 4 times he's been to the playoffs. He's been to the Super Bowl in his second season. This guy, just wins. That's what we do. That's what we've done in Philadelphia. We go to the playoffs, we win football games, and Nick Sirianni's got to be responsible for that. I know he's kind of weird, he's kind of quirky, and he's very, very frustrating. I come on here and bitch about him sometimes too. They win, period.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off of that, Tim Hawkins, thanks for rattling this one off in the group chat for me earlier. Those of you who are, constant watchers know that Tim is one of my other guests. He said the Eagles are 4-2. They have the second most wins, 29-11. It's a 725 win percentage in the NFL since 2022, behind Kansas City. They're the only team that's better is Kansas City at 30-9. Under Nick Sirianni, the Eagles have the second best road winning percentage at 690. They're 20-9 on the road. That's a very good road record. In the league, trailing again only Kansas City, Big Red, and the best quarterback in football, Patrick Mahomes, at 20-7. So, to your point, all Sirianni does is win. Like, people are complaining about his antics. I got news for you. If they keep winning, I don't really give a shit about his antics.
And we talked about what the fan said, Nick Sirianni said to him, the guy that was being yelled at supposedly. We had that discussion. If you missed that, there was a Reddit post from the fan that Nick Sirianni was yelling at, and we discussed it in the recap episode of the Browns. Please go to YouTube, watch last week's episode. And Tim Hawkins makes another great point here. It's with multiple coordinators. Every year we got different coordinators. Gannon and Steichen. We've gone from Brian Johnson and Jesus Christ, I don't even remember the guy from last year on defense. Both
Matt
guys
Patricia and someone else.
Got new coordinators this year too, still winning. So yeah. Whatever message he is sending in the locker room works, and that's all you need from your head coach.
I agree. Moving on to another person who faces a lot of criticism, and specifically about his turnovers. Jalen Hurts, he had 2 back-to-back games now where he doesn't have any turnovers. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other quarterbacks in the league that have more turnovers than Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to rattle these names off. I bet some of them will be surprising for some of you. I'll go from the bottom up. Caleb Williams. Okay, rookie, fine. More turnovers, fine. Sam Darnold on a 5-1 Minnesota Vikings team. Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Geno Smith with the Seahawks, guys that were supposed to have great years and are supposed to be better than Jalen Hurts, especially in that territory.
Is this interceptions or all turnovers?
This is all turnovers. Yeah. Dak Prescott, not really a surprise to me on that one. He has looked pretty bad as the season has progressed. Jordan Love, who, by the way, has 2 less games than Jalen Hurts, has more turnovers. Brock Purdy of the 49ers, and then the best quarterback in football, Patrick Mahomes. So those of you getting on Jalen about his turnovers, I get it. I get pissed off when I see it. I hate when he stands in the pocket and gets strip sacked. I hate it. I do. However, in terms of what he's doing across the league and what he's doing for the Philadelphia Eagles, Ryan brought this up last week when in the chat. We are a Saquon Barkley catch. Again, bad play call. Saquon Barkley catch away from a 5-1 team right now, the way we're looking at it. So Jalen Hurts is another person who, since he's been in Philadelphia, has gotten better every year, sort of, from 22 to 23 was a very big regress. But he's gotten better at protecting the football, no turnovers the last 2 weeks. And he's just another guy that keeps winning. So I don't understand the constant bickering and shot taking on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, no turnovers on Sunday, still wasn't his best game. There were some very, very, very obvious scenarios where he held onto the ball way too damn long and tried to make a hero play instead of just getting rid of the ball. But it's been better the last couple of weeks. It really has been better. This team look back at 2022, 6 interceptions, couple fumbles throughout the year, really didn't turn the football over. We're the best team in the NFC. That's really the difference on this team. We can sit here and bitch that they don't run the football enough. We can sit here and bitch that Saquon Barkley isn't used enough, that A.J. Brown gets all the targets, la, 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 la. Nick Sirianni, all this, all that. Big difference. Jalen Hurts turning the football over. That is the cut and dry big difference. When he shows up and plays safe football, he doesn't even have to do a whole lot. Like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are your receivers. You've got Saquon Barkley chilling in the back. Like, why are you trying to play hero ball? Christ, just throw it up.
I agree. I 100% agree with you there. Having said that, he obviously goes 10 for 14 on Sunday for 114 yards and the 1 long touchdown on fourth down. But yeah, so I just don't understand the constant. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to play the Bengals this week, and he's going to throw a bad interception, and the whole world is going to come down on this guy. And I just don't think it's warranted at this point in time. I just don't.
Now, I will say, when you list off those other quarterbacks, right, when you look at Patrick Mahomes and when he turns the football over, right, because context matters a little bit. Throwing an interception 0-0 first quarter, first drive of the game doesn't mean as much as a fumble down 7, driving in the third quarter, trying to pick up. There's got to be a little bit of context added to each situation. But I think the big thing that drives me absolutely insane is when Jalen Hurts turns the football over. It's generally when we're driving, maybe right outside the red zone. This year it's been in the red zone, and it's always really ill-timed when we need to capture momentum, when the defense is kind of, made a big stand after falling apart in the game. Look at the Bucs game, right? We are driving. We're down 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, fumbles the football. It's just a matter of when. There are certain situations where he feels like he has to win the game, I guess, and he doesn't. We just need him to play safe football.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's move on to the all-star of this particular game. He's already been named the NFC Player of the Week. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley and his 17 carries for 176 yards and 1 touchdown. While that is wonderful and amazing and a hell of a showing, God, I hate Hurts only because Hawkins is in love with him. Fair enough. But no. As amazing as his 17 for 176 and a touchdown was, I think what's even more amazing is the type of individual that he is. I don't know if you've seen the video yet of him on the bench. Nick Sirianni sits down next to him, says, "You're 13 yards from your career high, and I want you to get that. If you want to go back out there, because I'm benching the starters, you can go out there." And he didn't even hesitate. He said, "Nah, let the young guys eat." And Sirianni asked him again. I'll get to that in a second. Sirianni asks him again, Are you sure? Because you're only 13 short, and I'd love to see you get it. No, man, let them young guys eat. I'm good. So he's not only a great athlete and put on a show, but the fact that he's also a hell of a good teammate and knows that these other guys need to get reps in to get better, it stands out a lot as well.
Kenny Gainwell had a pretty good game too.
13 for 56. I would agree, yes.
Yeah.
He also had 1 reception for 11 yards.
Yeah,
Barkley
I
had
mean,
2 for 11.
this was, a slam dunk bet. This was the most predictable thing on the face of the earth, that Saquon Barkley was going to have a big game against the Giants because the Eagles were just going to will it that way. Again, slow start in the first quarter, but they all in all, I mean, Saquon Barkley, once he had that electric run in the second quarter, like I said, I don't know what it is with this team, and we'll probably talk about their struggles later in the show. But once the clock hits the second quarter, it's like game on, and it doesn't make any sense. But that first run electrified this offense, and they really got going after that.
Yeah, it looks like my internet dropped out there for a second. Thanks for continuing to go on there. Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, I think Saquon Barkley, I mean, let's talk about it, right? We said before that we thought he got paid too much money, but right now he seems to be worth every penny.
Still early in the contract, but yes, I agree. That being said, most of his guaranteed money is up front, so this is the time to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's move on to another superstar that's already been mentioned in this show, right?
Well, with all these struggles in Dallas this year, and I said A.J. Brown was the best receiver in the East.
Let's roll through some comments because I'm not actually looking at those. I'm looking at the banners. Let's see.
There's just some chatter going on in the comments between each other. I'm bringing up all the important ones.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I got you.
Tim, you're right. He says, come on, get it together. I can't control when my internet cuts in and out. That's literally the first time it's happened since I got the new internet. I'm really sorry. Shit happens. But yeah, let's talk about A.J. Brown, who goes 5 for 89 and the 1 touchdown. Obviously, they didn't really need to throw the ball a lot. The Giants were really bad against the run, so the Eagles just kept running the ball. How big?
He's the MVP of the Eagles.
Thank you. Okay, I was trying to find the way to word it. Yeah,
I know where this question's going, and I'll answer it. He's the MVP of the Eagles and this is why I say Jalen Hurts is not in that Patrick Mahomes tier that Tim Hawkins wants to crown him in. Patrick Mahomes can make McCole Hardman and friends look like this. A.J. Brown makes Jalen Hurts go from here to here.
Yeah,
not the other way around. Like it is so obvious that Jalen Hurts is really just desperately needs A.J. Brown. Like Devontae Smith is not enough for him. And when A.J. Brown's on the field, he looks like a completely different quarterback. So he's the MVP of the Eagles. He lifts the whole team. He makes Hurts look better, which in turn can make Saquon look better. He's the MVP of the Eagles.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. That's where I was. That was the question I had for you. Like I said already, 5 for 89 and the 1 long touchdown, again, that came on 4th down. And it was just a great throw from Jalen Hurts.
No, I do not. Get your facts right, Ryan. I haven't heard you give a realistic take about Hurts yet.
I know you're talking to Tim. I think what we do really good here for the most part is we're very objective. Like I said, I had the argument with Gucci last week on our Pick'em show about how I can be so objective and look at the Cowboys and say, okay, CeeDee Lamb is a good player and he just can't do that because he's an emotional fan. I respect myself for being that objective and being able to go that extra mile. And I respect you for doing it too. So thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to all-star of the defense. And I don't even think it's close. You got to see it, so you go ahead.
Yeah, there was a fade route, a fly route that Malik Neighbors was running, and Quinyon Mitchell might as well have ran the route for him. He flipped his hips, had his eyes back at the quarterback, and just somehow knew that Neighbors wasn't good. There was no route other than the 9 route, and he beat him to the spot. And for the 6th consecutive game, Quinyon Mitchell dropped an interception. If he had hands, though, he'd be playing wide receiver. That being said, against the Giants, targeted 4 times, 2 completions, 15 yards, pass breakup.
Having said that, though,
that's Malik Neighbors, that's Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, granted, Wan'Dale's a fairly solid slot receiver. We all know Malik Neighbors is a very good wide receiver. Quinyon Mitchell is very early, like cornerback one on this team. He's physical, he's big, he can make tackles, and he just plays the ball really well. Like for a physical guy, I'm surprised he doesn't get flagged for PI more.
I also love what he brings in the sense of talking trash, right? Like, oh man, and then there's plays where he and CJ are yelling at the same player, and I mean that's just got to be brutal, right? Because CJ Gardner-Johnson, we know, talks a lot of shit, and he's really good at it.
And the more frustrating part is after Quinyon Mitchell does something good and he starts talking trash, you look at CJ, who's also talking trash, and you want to be like, man, you're ass, shut the fuck up. But like,
no, CJ he has missed a few tackles this year. I'm a huge fan of CJ. CJ has missed a few tackles this year, and I will openly say that. Yeah. However, he has not looked bad. He has been what we advertised as a safety.
And as you mentioned, so first off, the best thing that CJ Gardner-Johnson brings is his mouth. Like, yeah. I love that about him. He brings the swagger, he brings the attitude. And as bad as some of his tackles have been this year, he has made probably the biggest tackle of the season to this point. 4th and 1, taking Bijan Robinson one-on-one in the hole like that for a 1-yard loss. Ultimately, we ended up losing against the Falcons. But yeah, I mean, he as much shit as we give him, he made that one-on-one tackle, so he can hit. We just need him to clean up, the consistency to it. But yeah, I love what CJ Gardner-Johnson brings to this Eagles defense.
I also love that he owns everything. Like you say, hey CJ, you missed this tackle. Yeah, you're right, I did. But did you see the other one I made? Like he owns up for it, and I appreciate that about him. And again,
this series of comments is kind of funny. Where's Jordan Davis?
God.
On the bench, can't breathe because he's overweight. I'll talk about Jordan Davis after Quinyon Mitchell, but yeah, go ahead about Quinyon.
No, I love his attitude that he came in. He came out of a much smaller school, right? He's the 22nd overall pick in the NFL draft. And he comes in the Buccaneers game. He broke up a pass to Mike Evans. Mike Evans is walking back to the huddle. Guy who's caught 1,000 yards in 8 straight seasons. Oh man, you ain't nothing. You're crap. You ain't nothing. Don't come in my house anymore. Like, I love it.
Mike Evans.
Yeah. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I love the attitude he brings, and him and CJ together has got to be a nightmare. To your point, that's like for opposing teams. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about 2 other players that I didn't have in the banners. We could talk about Jordan Davis because that one was just brought up. He
12 snaps. Played 12 snaps on Sunday.
Yeah, that's bad. Now I'm wondering if he was dealing with an illness they haven't disclosed, or if he's dealing with an injury they haven't disclosed. I don't know.
He's dealing with sucky play that is watchable on tape.
Fair enough. But I want to talk about Jalen Carter. And I asked you a question on Sunday, and I'm wondering if maybe you've had time to think about it. Teams who have elite pass rushers on the defensive tackle spot, or even in the defensive end spot, move those guys around constantly on the defensive side of the football. The Eagles do not. Jalen Carter lines up in the exact same spot every single play, and I'm wondering why.
I think it's a scheme thing. Truthfully, if you look at the Fangio scheme, it seems very reliant on getting home with 4 pass rushers in a very, sort of traditional defense is the word I'm looking for. 2 true D ends, 2 true D tackles, whether it's stand up or 3-point stance D ends. That being said, the last couple weeks, in the Saints game, we saw it a little bit, but the last couple weeks, Jalen Carter has really made an impact on the defense, whether it was on the stat sheet, as he does have sacks in the last 2 games, or it's, not on the stat sheet by taking up blockers and freeing up other guys. The Eagles defensive line the last couple weeks, granted, these are against really bad offenses, so I need to see it against a better team, but they've looked exponentially better than they did the first month of the season, where it felt like, you could probably rush 10 guys and none of them would get home. Yeah.
Speaking of, we're finally getting home. Fangio has changed how he's bringing the pressures. He's still only bringing 4, but he's doing it differently. If he sends a linebacker or a corner, a D lineman stands up and stands in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I saw that when Brandon Graham was covering Malik Neighbors on a play. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work out matchup wise, but I like that they're showing different looks. It makes it tougher to block when you're just showing different looks. Even if you're still only bringing 4, make them think that the 5th guy might be coming and maybe somebody sneaks through. You know what I'm saying? Again, 8 sacks on Sunday, great performance. bad offense, great performance out of the Eagles defense.
Yeah. I'd just like to see it a little bit more consistently.
Final thoughts on the last game where we sit here 6 or 7 weeks in.
Good. Bring the same kind of attitude, bring the same kind of momentum into Cincinnati. And if you get out to a fast start, that's going to be the key. Get out to a fast start. Cincinnati is a team that has also kind of gotten out to slow starts. They didn't score a touchdown until the third quarter, I think, last week on offense. You know, they were really aided by a kick return for a touchdown. Get out to a fast start, put them in a hole, and Quinyon Mitchell versus T. Higgins and Jamar Chase is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Just get out to a fast start and don't abandon the run very early. I mean, look what Saquon just did.
Mm-hmm.
So stick with the run. Don't force Jalen to be a hero because we just talked about it a little bit ago. He doesn't need to be a hero. And to your point again, just get out early. It looks like Goddard's coming back for this game as well. I read earlier.
I don't think so. We didn't practice today.
Oh, okay. So maybe I read something that was outdated then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, just don't make it a situation where Jalen has to be a hero, and hopefully we don't have to watch, bad turnovers at bad times. As we have already mentioned, they're coming up against the Bengals. We have a prediction show on Sunday, but give me your thoughts. How you feeling?
Yeah, fast start. And I know somebody texted in the group earlier in the week or last week or something, and somebody mentioned or in the comments earlier is Quinyon Mitchell versus Jamar Chase. First off, our cornerbacks don't follow.
They don't.
That's just not the scheme. Secondly, I feel like if they were to follow, I would prefer to see Mitchell on Higgins because Higgins is a big 6'4", 215-pound guy, uses his size to create separation, and that would be the perfect matchup for Quinyon Mitchell because Mitchell cannot be bullied by him. Whereas Slay might be a little bit more tuned for Jamar Chase. Granted, nobody's really tuned for Jamar Chase.
They'll have a safety over top.
Yeah. That being said, it's all a moot point. We don't follow anyway. So that's kind of the matchup I'm going to be more interested to see, though.
Yeah. To your point, Bengals obviously get out slow. Don't let them get out to a fast start. Defense, come out, do what you did the last couple of weeks. Make sure that you're trying to get home. You're getting home, and again, just stunts on the defensive side of the ball to get people in the backfield.
This is a Bengals team not to be slept on, right? They're 3-4 on the season, and they are desperately trying to climb back in a division where the Ravens are 5-2. So the Bengals are going to be coming for every win they can get, and they are 3-1 in their last 4 games. The only loss being to the Ravens in overtime, which was a fantastic game. So get home to Joe Burrow, get pressure early, and put up some points. Like if you're up 7-0, 7-3 at the end of the first quarter, I think you're in a really good spot here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just get points. Just get points.
Yeah. Never going to say no to more points, but
yeah, obviously. But for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, it doesn't look like there are many of you. Please go to YouTube, like, subscribe. We're doing giveaways. If you're on X, we're doing giveaways. Just follow the what we're asking you to do. Share the tweet that went out.
Screen, you'll see a banner that tells you exactly where our Twitter is, and if you go to the pinned tweet in the bio, it will tell you exactly how to put yourself in the running to win a CJ Stroud and Will Anderson out of 25 card, as well as get yourself enrolled for a free NFL jersey at the Super Bowl giveaway for B.S.ing Sports.
NFL jersey of your choice.
Of your choice. That is right.
Yes. So please go on over there, take care of that, do that for us. We appreciate every one of you that have done it already. But that's going to – what?
Score prediction. Sunday.
I got a really close, gritty game. 27-24 Birds. Actually, it could be 27-24 either team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I have 35-31. Unfortunately, I do think the Bengals come out and win this game. But obviously, that's what I put in my predictions. It's kind of what I'm sticking to. Nonetheless, I would love to see the Eagles come out and win. This would be a big win for them on a team that's kind of heating up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And again, keeping in mind that the Eagles are a bad Saquon Barkley drop away from 5-1 right now.
Yeah, the Eagles are a good football team. They win games.
Correct. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here on B.S.ing Sports, part of the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Thank you and have a great night.